Please let us know what is there in your cup.
Thank you. So this is my favorite black tea in the evening. And I think I'm not much of a tea lover. I need one in the morning after I wake up. And this is the second cup that I have during the day. So just to keep you going, especially now during lockdown, you need this cup to get you going for the next 2-3 hours of work. So I'd like the other panelists to sort of share their coffee or tea connections.
Great, ma'am, great. So our next panelist is Aparna, ma'am. She is the principal of DAV Public School, Sector 40 in Gurugram. Due to her vast expertise in managing enormous task on her shoulder, she has been entrusted with vital responsibility by CBSE as Chief Nodal Supervisor, Inspection Committee member, City Coordinator, CTET. Hello, Aparna, ma'am. Please tell us, what do you like to drink when you feel low in energy?
I'm basically, I would not say a tea lover, but I definitely need 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the evening. And like Poonam ma'am rightly said, especially during this time when we are all stuck at home, this evening cup of tea, you know, is a transition. Now, a short break in the afternoon, back again to work. So this cup of tea says, okay, chalo, get up, next 3-4 hours, continue before the day ends.
Great, ma'am, great. Tea is always a great option, ma'am.
Yeah.
Our next panelist is Bhawna Malik, ma'am. She is the principal of Lovely Public Senior Secondary School, Lakshmi Nagar, Delhi. Ma'am got the award of the GTF Women Excellence in 2018, State Teacher Award by Directorate of Education. Welcome, Bhawna, ma'am. So are you a coffee person or a tea lover?
Good evening, everyone. I'm a tea lover, but as everybody's story, 1 cup in the morning and 1 cup in the evening, not much. It's great that I am sharing this screen with lot of intelligent, beautiful for the ladies and handsome for the men. People are here around with me, and we all are going to understand and share the good things. I believe like that.
Great, ma'am, great. Our next panelist is Jaishree Kanwar, ma'am. She is the director of Sagar Public School, Bhopal. Ma'am has done her schooling from Sophia School, Jodhpur. She believes it is important to teach students with love and care, not with regimentation. Discipline and fixing goal is extremely important, along with the good ethics and commitment. Welcome, Jaishree, ma'am. What is the secret drink in your cup today, ma'am?
I don't drink tea or coffee, so I'm here with my health drink, a glass of Nimbu Pani, which hydrates me and gives me a lot of energy. Thank you.
Nimbu Pani is always a healthier option, ma'am. So our next panelist is Jaya, ma'am. She is the principal of Ratna International School, Maharashtra. Ma'am is a firm believer of holistic development and education beyond book. Hello, Jaya, ma'am. What is brewing in your cup?
Hi, namaste and good evening, everybody. So, school is in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and it's really a privilege to be sitting among such august gathering here with these panelists. And I hope it doesn't disappoint you, but I'm neither having tea nor coffee, but buttermilk, as this weather calls for it. So, but then it makes me refreshed. So I think that would work for today. Thank you for having me.
Superb, ma'am. Our next panelist is Mayuri Mehta, ma'am. She is the principal of GK Gurukul, Pune. Ma'am has been in teaching profession since more than 30 years. Have done post-graduation in geology and love to teach geography to the student. Welcome, Mayuri, ma'am. And what is your favorite hot beverage?
Hello, Gautam. I'm very happy to be here sharing the screen with so many esteemed people over here. Thank you so much for having me. I am having my cup of filter coffee. Filter coffee is what I really love, and that is what I always have. Thank you.
Great, ma'am. Wonderful. Our next panelist is Saxena, sir. He is the principal of Hindu Senior Secondary School, Sonepat. Sir is from army background. His father was colonel. Sir passed NDA in 1987, but preferred to choose education field as his career. He always want to serve forthcoming generation. Welcome, Shammi, sir. Please tell us, are you a hardcore coffee person or a tea lover?
Tea lover, surely, Gautam. And I'm happy to see all the panelists. Thank you very much to be a part of this wonderful seminar. and webinar, and it is just like a nectar for all of us right now, because this is the only energy drink we have right now. So just all the best for this webinar. Thank you.
Sir, people says this, that tea is in cup like a hug.
Yeah.
And our next panelist is Sunita Nagpal ma'am. She is the principal of KR Mangalam World School, Gurugram, recipient of the FACE International Women Leadership Award 2017, SOF Best Journal Principal Award 2016-17, and ma'am is graduated in English literature. Hi Sunita ma'am, what do you drink to bring back your energy?
Much as I would love to have Mayuri ma'am's filter coffee, my stomach won't allow. So I'm having very light green tea.
Right,
and I really look forward to today's session with such eminent people, academicians with us. And I look forward to this evening. Thank you, Gautam.
Great, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all the panelists. So before we move further, I would also want to know what is our audience favorite hot beverage is. For this, we'll have a quick poll on your screen. We'll be having a 3 question in this poll, and you will get 10 seconds to answer that. I will request all the panelists to answer that. Can we have the poll on the screen, please? So what is your preferred time, high tea time? So Jaishree ma'am, what is your preferred high tea time? Ma'am, please unmute yourself first.
It's between 5:30 and 6 p.m.
What about you, Poonam ma'am?
It's 4 to 4:30.
Great, ma'am. So what would you prefer drinking during high tea time? Aparna ma'am.
Classic tea.
Classic tea. Sunita ma'am, what about you?
Coffee with milk.
Coffee with milk. Great, ma'am. And the next is, where do you enjoy your high tea? At home or at school? Shammi sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
At home, Gautam, surely. At 4:30, we used to leave at home, and I prefer to have high tea at home.
And what about Jaya, ma'am?
So I have it usually around 4:30 or 5, and I like to have classic tea. And it is usually in the school because normally I leave school after 6. So I think that's where it is.
So can we have results on the screen, please?
Oh, I thought this was a trial run. I didn't post.
Thank you everyone. So I request all the audience to keep writing your question in Q&A box, as we are going to have Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. So topic of today's webinar is the cornerstones of 21st century schools. Now I request all the panelists to share their thoughts and opinion in 5 minutes. We also have a buzzer to remind the panelists that 4 minutes are over. Hope that will be helpful. Now I request Poonam ma'am to kickstart the conversation. Over to Poonam ma'am.
Yes, so good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rock Sports, for giving us this platform, and all the eminent panelists here. And let me tell the audience, this tea, coffee talk was just sort of settling in time because we wanted to reach the maximum audience. I think we're touching 511 participants as of now, and we begin with the webinar now. The topic for today's webinar is the cornerstones of the 21st century. I would like to begin with the very famous quote of Alvin Toffler, that the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think this lockdown has actually brought this into stark reality. I think the schools that were ready to, or the teachers who had a mindset to unlearn and relearn, were the ones who were the quickest to adapt, the teachers as well as the schools. So I think that's extremely important. For me, that is one of the most important cornerstones of the 21st century. Next, I feel as schools, do we need to focus so much on content versus now focus on the real life connect, the meaning and the purpose of why we study what we study? I think that is what children look for. And that should be the cornerstone of the 21st century, where we look to solve real world problems. If you recall, the VUCA world has been, this term, the VUCA, has been floating around for the last 2 years, right? And I think this COVID has actually thrown us into that volatile and uncertain and the complex and ambiguous situation that we are in right now. We still don't know how schools will reopen and what we are going to do. So I think we need to reinvent ourselves and we need to rethink, and perhaps that's the only answer to how we will be able to make sense of all this disruption that has happened recently. My personal belief is that there's again the 21st century skills. There have been the 4 C's that have generally been spoken about. I will just very briefly touch upon 7 C's. The critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, I think all of us are familiar with. I want to add 3 more, which is the cross-cultural understanding. How do we, and I think, again, this has been proven true because we've been connecting through these webinars with people, not only in India, not only in our immediate vicinity, but the heads of schools and teachers and principals and practitioners worldwide. So this cross-cultural connect is very, very important. And I think we need to give the children the exposure right from early childhood, from their school days. And then there has to be a lot of focus on computing, coding, computing, technology. This is the 6th C, because had it not been for technology right now, I think we would not have been able to come out of this terrible situation. And again, those who were immersed in technology, those who were bigger users of technology, I think they have been able to move ahead fairly smoothly in comparison to schools that weren't, who hadn't integrated technology. And then is career learning, So what do we mean by career learning? It is, how do you teach children to set goals? How do you teach them to manage time and to become more organized? How do you teach children about workplace challenges that they might face in the future? Self-reliance, self-care. How do you become a lifelong learner? I think that is crucial to getting children ready for the 21st century. And character building, of course, somebody else will be talking about life skills and character. But then I would just want to focus on one of the key cornerstones of character, which is also how do you redefine failure? Because we have the way we run after marks, whether it's parents or schools or teachers, and we somehow decry any child who does not meet that standard. So I think let us teach our children that failures are to be celebrated, because it is these failures that ultimately lead to success. And the 3 R's I'm talking about are resilience, first of all. You're able to come out of failures only if you've learned to be resilient. Then are we teaching our children to be reflective? And not just children, I think it's even for adults. Introspecting. Do we reflect on our successes and failures? Do we reflect on the criticisms that we receive or the accolades we receive, and then move forward from there without getting unduly affected by either of them? And then are we risk takers? That's the 3rd R. That is thinking out of the box, thinking creatively, taking calculated risks. And when I talk about these 3 R's, I'm also talking about teachers. They need to have all these skills. If we want to teach our children, obviously we would want teachers to have all of these skills. And then the 3 M's, which is the final part of my presentation, is that whatever we teach needs to be meaningful. Children should know why they are studying what they are studying and how does it connect to the real world. The second M is motivating. Are we teaching the children the value of intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic? So far, for us, the definition, you ask children, they will tell you get a good job, earn a lot of money. That is their definition of success, which is, these are all extrinsic things. What about intrinsic motivation? What drives you to do well? So that is your passion, your commitment, your love for what you're doing is something that makes you, that's what you find in people who are completely driven and who reach the top of the ladder. And then, is our education made for everyone? This is my third one, the third M. Is it made for everyone? Or are we catering to a small segment? Are we excluding or are we inclusive in nature? So children with learning disabilities, children who are on the other side of the spectrum, are we catering to them? Are we differentiating our learning? Yes, and I'm into my final part. So these were basically what, so I think we need to teach children, and as teachers also, I think what has stood out in this 55 days of lockdown, what I see is there's never ever been this much learning in such a short of span as there has been in these 50 days. So we need to understand that learning has to be the foundation stone, not just the cornerstone. And technology has to be embedded, of course, character and life skills one cannot think about, because whatever we see in the society today, or whatever lack of what we would like to see in the society today, is somewhere education has gone miserably wrong, very, very badly wrong. We may be teaching all these things, but it's not getting imbibed by the kids. So I think we need to rethink the way we teach and the way we weave all these social, emotional, and life skills into our curriculum, so that I think the world at least turns out to be better. We should not lose the humaneness. That should not go out of our teaching. Thank you so much. And I will now request Aparna ma'am to kindly carry forward the discussion. I think Aparna is going to speak about life skills.
So thank you, Poonam ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Rocksport, and my participants in this webinar for being here today. And thank you, Rocksport, for inviting all of us, the panelists today. It is a good, interesting discussion that would go on for the next half an hour, where we are focusing on the different pillars, the different cornerstones for our 21st century schools. And I'm going to touch upon life skills. I'm not going to go into details, but just talking to all of you, different educators. I know our participants would be people from different schools who would like to understand how life skill is an integral part in today's teaching learning process. Today, when I talk of today, we are now, talking of 21st century, how to empower our students so that they can handle all situations in a positive manner. Like Poonam ma'am said, in fact, some of the points that she shared, I'm going to touch upon them, but in very brief, because we are all restricted to 5 minutes. So I would say when we talk of life skills, it is imparting children with ability for a positive behavior that enables them to deal the different challenges, handle the different challenges in life in a positive manner. And when I'm talking of life skills, I would say certain life skills which we can enumerate or we can count, like focus and self-control, perspective thinking, communicating, making connections, critical thinking, taking on challenges, self-directed, engaged learning, and very important, problem solving. So when I'm talking of problem solving, it is, basically talking of that how to handle the different problems which are coming at you from multiple angles, so that we can find a simplified practical solution to this. And I'm very sure all schools today are focusing on life skills. In fact, in one of the webinars last week itself, a very interesting discussion was taking place, where it was said that why don't we, CBSE has said that we have to add life skills as a part of our report card grading. It was said, why don't we add the contribution of the child towards environment as a part of this? Because when we are talking of life skills, even taking care of the environment is an important life skill, which our children have to understand. Especially children staying in north of India experience the problem of pollution every year. And come November, and we are closing down for pollution breaks, children are out with their masks, they are unable to play outside. A number of different problems come, and that is the time another life skill adds, that is caring for the environment. So when I am talking of different life skills, we are also saying that how in our routine curriculum, that is the lessons when we are teaching the children, or we are talking of integrated projects, or we are talking of theme-based projects, It could be different co-curricular activities where we are imparting our children with life skills. Let me take a very simple example. A project on, say, water conservation audit in the school. So what kind of life skills do you feel the child would get? You would say, no, the child will prepare a survey and, the child is going to rate how much water they are wasting. But here, like Poonam ma'am rightly said, a number of C's are included here. Children are working together. So a collaborative approach comes in. They learn how to tolerate each other. Empathy, compassion, tolerance for each other's views. That is very important because children today are very impatient. So it is very important to teach them how to respect others' views, because this is going to take them a long way in their life when they are out of the school also. Coming back to the water audit, then we are talking of children are working, collaborating, communicating with each other. They are making surveys, collecting information. And when they are collecting information, they are going to be successful only if they are able to communicate to the recipients that what they are looking at in this survey. So when I talk of different co-curricular activities, let it be debates, different discussions, competitions taking place in the school, again, what children are taking care of, children are learning a lot during these discussions, debates. But at the same time, there are certain life skills which I feel we should now add on to this. First and foremost is financial planning or financial literacy. Children, are, I would say, with a few number of children per family, so you find that they are a pampered lot. The current COVID time is teaching us that whatever we have is surplus. Try to enjoy in this limited resources we have. In fact, children have to understand that if during this period there is, let me take example of Maggi noodles only. If children have to eat Maggi noodles at home, they have to understand we have limited packets. It is not easy to reach market and get those. So how that can be planned and used in the most effective manner. I know Maggi is children's favorite, so that is why I took this example. So let us go to financial planning. So financial literacy, saving for the future. This is a very important life skill which has to be taught to the children. Another important point is mental health. That is emotional well-being of the child. A lot of schools today are focusing on emotional and mental well-being of the child. And this should be worked on because, again, as I said, fewer number of children per family, more pampered, I would say pampered in the sense all their demands are fulfilled. So a little bit of up and down here and there causes them a lot of stress, and directly the word comes, even a kindergarten child would say, I'm in depression. So so mental well-being is very important. After these children, okay, let me come to that point later on. But managing relationships and family is another important life skill on which we need to work on. So when I say relationships, again, I start from kindergarten itself, relation with the teacher, relation with the parents, relation with their friends. The moment they move into teenage, friendships start evolving, and these children have to learn how to handle them, how to handle their friends. And when the relationships move on to professional relationships and later on in family, again, these traits have to be built in right from the school itself. Then next I come to professional etiquettes. Once they are in the four walls of the school.
Sorry,
Aparna ma'am, your time is up.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I will very quickly sort of
I will
highlight the key points.
Yeah,
very well said, and some very valid points you have spoken about. And of course, I'd just like to very quickly repeat 2 or 3 of them. One was about tolerance and respect. I think very important. I think, again, if you look at the world today, these are 2 traits all of us are running out of. We have no tolerance. We do not know how to respect differences of opinion. Of course, financial planning and literacy, relationship skills, and mental health and well-being, very, very relevant issues which schools definitely need to focus on apart from the academic core content. May I now ask Ms. Bhawna Malik to take over and express her views?
Sorry to interrupting you, ma'am. Can we have one poll here?
Okay, sure.
So, Asta ma'am, can you share the poll on the screen, please? Great. The question is, can adaptive learning be incorporated in high-strength schools? So, Jaishree ma'am, what is your view on this? You have 30 seconds to answer. Ma'am, please unmute yourself first.
I would go for yes.
Great, ma'am. So let's see what are the results. Can we have the results on the screen? Oh, great. It seems like we and audience are on the same track. Over to you, Poonam ma'am.
No, I've just invited Bhawna ma'am to take over and express her, tell us about what she thinks are the cornerstones of the 21st century.
Very good evening to everyone. I will just take up what Aparna ma'am said right now, and a few points from you also. Although I have to talk about the cornerstone and the meaning is known to everyone, but still I just wanted to say in a one line that cornerstones means something very important in your life. So here, once we are discussing the cornerstones of our education, what I feel is there are two cornerstones according to me. One is the teacher and second is our values and traditions. And when we are combining both the things, as if we are making a big building, the most important thing according to us is the foundation. And these two things are on the foundation. And when we are combining a teacher and a value and tradition, it gives a beautiful word, guru. And a guru is a Sanskrit word. And what is the meaning of a guru? The meaning of a guru is a guide, a person who is telling you everything. She is a role model. She's a guide to a person. I know in this last 3 months, we all were at home. The people were saluting the doctors. The people were saluting our policemen, our other workers. But why I don't understand that they are not saluting a teacher who is giving them the values also side by side. And at this hour also, she's keeping her family at the one corner and keeping her children in the center, preparing, giving them everything. I'm not saying, I'm not against it. It's a very environmental friendly thing that if we are giving everything online, we have to cut less trees. So in any way, we are residing at home, so less transportation, less everything. So in any way, we are helping. But what I feel is that nobody can take place of a teacher. Okay, we have the Google. Every time, usually we say, chalo Google auntie se pooch lete hain. So Google auntie has every answer to every question. But to difference between what we are getting and what we should take back. So it's simply very beautiful thing that a child is sitting and you on the Google and some dances are coming or some kind of literature is coming, you just read. But maybe what exactly, what knowledge you have to give to the child, that only a guru can do. Like when a child borns, so the mother is telling how to say ma, bapa, doodh. So these are the small words from which a mother take up the thing, the journey of a child. Here, a child is not able to just see the video or cartoon and start saying. If a parent is a first guru, the same way in when the child is coming in the school, this guru is a mother also. This guru is important because through the different kind of examples, trying to give them the right kind of the knowledge. They are trying to tell them how they can make the relationship with the things around them. The teacher just simplify the complex things and teach according to the need of a child. She has to cater the 40 children or 35 children in the classroom. And that time she transmit everything, she transfer everything according to the need of a child. She knows where she has to give what kind of an idea, what kind of a topic she has to take up first, how she has to build up. With the small thing, she is able to create, she builds a relationship. She teach the value to a child. Are we not losing the values? I think we are. How many of the, as Aparna ma'am just said, it's the child has to understand that if I have a 5 packets of noodles or Maggie, how, if the lockdown is for 90 minutes, for 90 days, how I have to, for how many days, for example, in a week time, he can consume one. So these are the important things. These days, the parents have the habit to give whatever. If the child is saying, I need one mobile, they give the one mobile. If I need immediately 2 pairs of new shoes, they are giving. So these are the things, these are the values which the children, that their children need to understand. They need to learn everything. So I think a teacher is a very important person. We still miss our teachers. The teacher, what they have taught us, we still take it. We use it in our example. We use it in our daily lives. And we take up our jobs nicely. So they are the carriers of the knowledge. And only their guidance can help them to choose the better path. And what else I can say? They expand, they elaborate their interest also, the teachers, because they are able to identify, they give them the chances that, for example, if they are able to understand, okay, this particular child is good in science, they give them the particular field. Okay, you can do something so that you can make it as your important profession also. So everywhere this Google and is not able to help. We have to realize that nobody can take the place of a teacher. And of course, with the technology, the teacher can make the life of a child easy and eco-friendly also. But both the cornerstones, we have to understand that we need to give the values properly to our children, and a teacher is the teacher. Nobody can replace that. I think it's my time is over, I think. Or should I can continue with
Thank
something?
you. Sorry, thank you, Bhawna ma'am. You're completely right in saying that the teacher is a guide and a mentor. And definitely in today's times when children have access to knowledge on their own, they can acquire knowledge by surfing on their own. We don't need teachers for that, but yes, as mentors and facilitators, definitely teachers are there and required. And I think teachers now especially need to be role models so that the values are learned from them. You cannot teach these to the children. May I now request Dr. Jaishree Kanwar to please take over, and I think you have something very interesting to share with
Yes.
the audience.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Rocksport, for providing us this platform to share our thoughts and ideas. Very interesting topic which I have chosen for the day, and that is desired outcomes for students. So what exactly do we understand by this? What do we want our students to be when they grow up? We want them to be honest, equipped with resilience and integrity, self-esteem and confidence, a good professional, and a good human being, isn't it? We always wanted it that way, but things have changed. The entire landscape of education has changed. 21st century schools have to develop a new set of skills, core competencies, and appropriate aptitude. Education is very dynamic, always was, and COVID-19 has triggered the change, not only in school systems, but also in our thought process, our mindset, and our approach towards teaching and learning. How students learn, how parents motivate, and how teachers teach has changed. Here, we must understand that all conventional strategies have to go. No more rote learning from a limited and narrow perspective of textbooks. Education has a much broader perspective of developing students with the right attitude, sound character, mental agility, and most importantly, independent thinking. To achieve these outcomes, teachers should become guides and facilitators. Imparting information which is on students' fingertips is not quite enough. Converting into information into knowledge and expertise is. Students should be focused, goal-oriented, and go-getters. Spoon feeding for passing an exam is an old story now. Onus of achievement lies not only on the efforts of the teacher, but also on the sincerity and diligent work of the students and I'm saying and support and involvement of parents. Corona has challenged educationists, but we are going to convert every challenge into an opportunity. It has exposed us to technology, and we have responded successfully. The management, the teachers, the students, and the parents have accepted it wholeheartedly. We may conduct virtual classes, but a live class where interaction takes place, concepts are understood so that they can be applied in real life situations, social and emotional needs are catered to, will ensure good learning outcomes, and of course, physical and mental fitness. There is a paradigm shift in learning pedagogy. Online classes are here to stay. An amalgamation of online and online classes will be the new trend. We have to adopt and adapt to this new normal. Sound knowledge, well-groomed personality with value system in place, and good emotional and adaptability quotient will make students globally ready. Students will have to be self-motivated. They have to become independent learners. They have to become self-learners. There is no choice for them. And they should be held responsible and accountable for their learning. For such outcomes, the students need freedom and conducive environment. We keep talking about conducive environment very often, but is it provided both at home and in school? Let students lead the learning. Let the students lead the learning in an inquiry-based classroom where teacher will not cover the syllabus, but students will uncover and discover it themselves. Give exposure, encourage decision-making and logical thinking, evolve a system which is learning-centric and emphasize on joy of learning. Interpersonal relationships, collaboration, communication, leadership, and ethics are going to be of prime value. Cornerstones of 21st century schools will now become the milestones of 21st century. If we will be able to prepare our students for life, making them achieve their optimum potential, ready for modern day careers, exhibiting humaneness. We have achieved the desired goals, the desired outcomes. After all, what matters the most and counts at the end of the day is happiness. Happiness of intellect, mind, and soul. Please do ponder upon it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jaishree. That was very well put. The desired outcomes. I know we asked teachers to mention their learning outcomes in every lesson plan, but the whole school should also have desired outcomes in terms of how we want our children to turn out to be. And I think definitely one of the key factors that we need to keep in mind and what we need to move forward with is, actually making students into autonomous learners. I think there's been way too much spoon feeding happening in the past, and I think we need to make that switch and ensure that metacognition happens. May I now hand over to Dr. Jaya Parekh from Maharashtra. Let's hear her take on the cornerstones of the 21st century.
Yeah. So namaste, good evening to everyone. This is Dr. Jaya Parekh from Ratna International School, Mumbai. It has been very enriching to hear the views of such eminent school leaders. I have been making a lot of notes and myself going to implement a lot of good advice and suggestions that you have given. Now here's time for my 2 bits. I think there is not just one cornerstone that we can talk of, and hence I would like to highlight a few of those. I'm sure each of the panelists in some way or the other has touched upon them, but still let's look from a different perspective. So first of all, what I think one of the most important cornerstones of 21st century would be our ability to accept situations, to be optimistic, to be prepared for unexpected situations, to adopt and adapt. So that is the very first and the most important cornerstones according to me. And I feel so proud that the education fraternity, our fraternity has risen to this occasion and have proved beyond doubt that they could adapt themselves. They did not waste time in accepting this difficult situation and have planned, gone ahead, tried, and shown that optimism that yes, we can win through it, we can move through it. So whether we were called officially as Corona warriors or not, for me and for all of us, the teachers and this education fraternity has been Corona warriors. We are proud of you. Hats off to you. So that's the first cornerstone. Second cornerstone, which I feel is needed a lot in today's situations, is the ability to maintain the emotional connect, which probably we would be missing out to a great deal if we move on to blended learning, adaptive learning, the mix of all the hybrid learning, the mix of online, offline, etc. What joy a child feels in coming close to a teacher, running to a teacher, hugging a teacher, and the same that we feel when a child hugs us. I remember as a child, it was a different joy and thrill if we were allowed to carry a bunch of books by the teacher or to carry her back to the staff room or something like that. Now this social distancing is actually leading to physical distancing, and we understand in the formative years and even for adults, touch is so important to building interpersonal relationships. And in the formative years, that is when you build those life skills that we are talking about, the values that we are talking about. Touch and physical closeness plays a very important role. In fact, in our early year classes and in the lower primary, our teachers welcome students with a hug or with a high five, with a handshake. Now this all too physical in nature. Now this is to be compensated. You can't just ignore this aspect. So the second important cornerstone for a teacher now in today's time is to be able to build the emotional connect despite having no physical contact. So imagine a child coming with masks on the face, the teacher also with a mask, only eyes are left to be red. And here the teacher will have to become so smart in understanding the expressions of the eyes. The facial expressions, though 75% of the face kind of looks covered. So I think this is another cornerstone. If we are able to develop that ability, we would probably sail through it successfully. So this is what I would say is the second one. Third is third cornerstone is to be able to understand that is the ability to tweak the way pedagogy is being adopted, the curriculum framework is framed, the environment that we are creating, also ensuring that the pedagogy, which was restricted to more of classroom discussions or teacher delivering something, students responding, etc. You also have to ensure that even with this online platform, you create opportunities for students for group discussions, peer learning, sharing of their feelings, their learnings, their emotions even at this time. So ensuring that there is life skill also, there is leadership as well. There is also connect to the real world. For example, the assignments can be related to the statistics in mathematics, let's say using the COVID statistics. So that is your application of mathematics, and then problem solving. What could be the solutions? They can research, they can also put in their views, whether they are correct, they are not correct, doesn't matter, but making them think critically. So looking at real life situations and bringing in these subjects which are core subjects, as well as involving the other skills and values into them. There could also be assignments based on, let's say, the condition of laborers in today's time. So why can't a language or a social studies topic not be about it? Why can't a math topic not be about it? The average distance traveled by the laborers. I mean, there is no end to it. How the biology got affected, how the psychology got affected. So there is entire physics, chemistry, geography, what not involved there. So another thing is this, the ability to tweak the pedagogy, the teaching methods, the curriculum, etc., as per the situation. Now, apart from this is important to involve children in those activities where they become compassionate and become empathetic. So, for example, the students can be involved in fundraising experiments, fundraising activities, which can be continued even on online mediums. So we have tried one such experiment, which is going with our senior students. They are collecting funds for the migrant laborers, and this is all happening through communication. Now, whatever channel of communication they use doesn't matter. They are ultimately developing leadership skills, compassion, and all the values that we are talking about. So I feel these are the very important cornerstones in today's time. And if I could say communication as a school leader, what I feel is communication with all stakeholders becomes very important. Everyone is teaching and learning in non-conducive environments. For example, a teacher is involved in household chores as well as her professional responsibilities of arranging resources, designing resources, planning her lessons, delivering it, despite having internet connectivity issues, having some problems with devices. The same goes for parents and students. So one has to be able to communicate with them, be approachable, be empathetic and compassionate towards them as well. So it's a whole lot of change in the environment and the way we deal with it. So the whole ecosystem has to become very cohesive. Everyone has to feel that I am for you and you are for me. So that kind of an environment. And if we are able to bring in that is the biggest cornerstone in our school family, within the school family itself. And teachers, I would suggest, let this online teaching and the blended teaching not become kind of a burden for you or for the children, because if the children do not enjoy, the teaching is going to be meaningless. So I would suggest happy breaks. The happy, my school is known as a happy school. I'm very proud in saying that. So one happy practice I would suggest to my teachers is to have happy breaks. For example, ask the children if they have help parents in making some dish, please show it during the class. If they have a toddler at home, please show it to the class on the screen. Explain what do you like about your baby brother or sister. Show if you have got a pet at home. What do you love about the pet? So I think this kind of happy breaks would bring creativity and knowledge.
You've run out of time. I know we're completely engrossed with.
I think
you were just the last. No, you were just brilliant. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So that creativity and innovation was the last milestone. Thank you.
No, absolutely. I mean, you've just spoken about what is so doable, and not only doable, what is required in these trying times, and how education can still be made so meaningful and so so engaging and so much fun, where children sort of don't seem to miss the difference between online and the physical school. Of course, the touch part, I think we cannot sort of compensate for that. And it will be very difficult in the coming times as well. And you very rightly said the emotional
so we need to express a lot.
will
Yes.
play a huge role in sort of getting kids to be sort of, that social connect and the emotional connect
Correct.
is a very
That's the
vital
biggest
factor.
that's the biggest cornerstone if we can achieve it.
Yes, and
Talent.
with not just the kids, with the parents as well. I think they need it immensely as
Yes.
of now.
Right.
All right, thank you so much, Jaya. Those were
Thank you.
brilliant views.
Thank you.
We'll move on to
Poonam ma'am, can we have one more poll
yeah,
here?
sure. Please go ahead.
So can we have poll on the screen, please? And the question is, do you believe school need to rethink our evaluation system as learning becomes hybrid? And the options are yes, no, and can't say. So Aparna ma'am, what is your view on this? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Yes, I've already answered and submitted it also. Yes.
Okay, so can we have the results, please? Oh, bingo.
that's good.
It seems like we and audience are on the same track. Poonam ma'am, over to you.
All right, so we move on to Mrs. Mayuri Mehta. I'd like you to take over and share your views on this theme of the Cornerstones.
Thank you, Poonam ma'am. Thank you, Gautam, for having me here. Thank you, Rock Sports. And it's hearing everyone, I don't think I have anything different to say. My views match completely with all your views. What I can just add to some few pointers I can add is that we all know that the month of March is going to be it is going to be mentioned in the future history books. There is a lot going to be spoken about that in our textbooks, and children maybe after 25 or 50 years down the line are going to talk about this and how we all have just have undergone a paradigm shift. We didn't know maybe on say 20th of March that we have to start thinking about a completely new pedagogical aspect of teaching. But yes, we have done it. As I agree again with all my co-panelists about for my teachers, that the teachers have been brilliant. There were so many teachers when I started this in the last week of March, when I started talking to the teachers said, we don't have laptop at home, ma'am. We do not have, we are not net savvy. We can't do this. But a little push was all that was required. And I'm sure you'll all agree with me. It was just a push to the teachers, and my fraternity has done wonderful. And I'm sure each and every teacher in this country has done that. Everybody has been, on their toes, and they have worked so hard. So as again, I congratulate all the teachers, and yes, all the teachers are Corona warriors also. I agree to that. The experience of online teaching was completely new. It was new to all the stakeholders, to the school, to the teachers, to the students, and to the parents. Together, we all have undergone a revolution. But my question is, are we prepared to do this continuously? When we started in the month of March, or maybe first week of April, when we started our online classes, did we think that we are going to do this continuously, or we thought it was a short term where we just want to fill in the gap for the month of April and then we will move on and go back to our schooling? We wanted to take a 180-degree turn back and go our own ways, the comfort zone. But yes, now we all have realized that this is not the only way. We'll have to think of various different ways where we are going to engage our students, impart knowledge to them. Yes, somebody has also mentioned about Google Auntie, but yes, Google Auntie is there. But again, I share the same opinion that nothing can replace a teacher. Teachers are the cornerstones and will always be. They were always there from the Guru Shishya Parampara, and in future, whatever views you say, I don't think so that teachers can be replaced. So what can be done? A blend of online and offline teaching. Now let's think practically something. In the near future, at least for this year, particular year in 2021, we don't see a regular attendance of students. I don't foresee a regular attendance of students. There is going to be a lot of absentees. Parents themselves are going to be apprehensive in sending their children to the school. At the same time, we as a school, we are going to take a step that even if a child has a normal cold, flu, or just a sneeze, we are going to ask the child, stay at home. I'm sure everybody agrees to that. So in such cases, how are we going to have the continuation in imparting knowledge to the child? This has to be a blend. Without a blend of online, offline, I don't think so we are going to be possible. So here we know that hybrid learning is the next future of our school education. Again, there's one more point which we can think about. Like there are many, we have all spoken that we are conducting online classes. I've been attending this webinar for quite some time, and I hear that everybody is conducting online classes. But let's go to the lower level, lower strata of the society. Is it possible that every child is able to have a laptop or a mobile at home and sit continuously on screen? No, I don't think so. I have even spoken to my people down the line. They are not. They saying, "Nahi, madam, nahi hota hai. एक ही phone है हमारे घर में. How can we impart knowledge to all? How can we give that phone to everybody in the house? There are 3 children in the house. There are 4 children in the house. There are siblings. Even the other children have siblings. Parents are working. So we have to find a in-between way where again Google Baba might come to a certain extent. There are various other platforms also available on to impart education, but without a teacher intervening at the right time, I do not think that we will be able to have a complete impartment of education to our children. We need to just go on. We need to have a competency-based learning. We need to adapt ourselves. Adaptation and adopt is what we have already said. So I think a lot has been repeated what I have said. And yeah, so that it is. Thank you so much. I've already heard the buzzer, so I don't want to go ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayuri. Very rightly said, we have to now, think of the future and actually sort of start preparing for maybe a mixed kind of blended learning. Because I agree with you that I think a lot of parents initially will not be comfortable in sending their kids to school, particularly the little ones. So it's still very uncertain. And I think every school is right now, planning as to how they will get ready for this, the future.
Yes.
May I now ask Mr. Shammi Saxena to please share his views?
Hello. Are you getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to place my gratitude to Rock Sports to provide me such a wonderful digital platform. And I also want to greet such eminent panelists and wonderful educators to be a part of this webinar. Reinventing schools, cornerstones of 21st century, digital platforms, hybrid learning, Zoom, WebEx, Google Meet. These are the words of our active memory now. Before 21st of March, we all were in our own shoes. We were in our comfort zones. We were just going to the schools, have the traditional classrooms, and we had the students. But now, on all of a sudden, after 21st March, the things changed, and drastic change came to our thoughts, our teaching, our approach towards the education system. So teachers, educators, hats off to you that you have you have shifted to this digital system to connect with the student within a very short span of time. Really, it is remarkable on the part of the teachers. At present, every one of us is using online apps to teach the students. But it is my question to all of you that can virtual classrooms replace real classrooms and virtual teaching replace real teaching? It is surely not. But we are in this shape which is in the middle of the sea, and we have to take it to the shore, and everybody is connecting through internet with each other. Now, in my view, one of the cornerstone of this century is the need of integrated teaching. Integrated teaching means we have to connect our students with a blend of different amalgam of these teachings. Dr. Jaya rightly said that teacher, your teaching should be a blend of subjective and social knowledge. Beside lengthy assignments, if we can ask the student to connect themselves with the present situation, it could be a better option for them. And this digital century still needs some core values to be involved in our teaching, because it is our duty to make them good human beings. And if we are just succeeding in making them good human beings, then the purpose of our education system will be solved. So through our values, student can become confident, tolerant, resilient, people of integrity, capable of both developing the leadership qualities and compassion. And self improvement is also needed in on the part of the students. We can just take some of the teaching technologies, teaching methodologies to develop all these core values. Self discipline is also needed. And one thing I want to just speak out here, that innovation is required, not imitation. I am not talking about imitation. Innovation is required on the part of the student as well as on the part of the teachers. Because what happened that if we are just moving to imitate others and not making our lessons innovative, then we will be the true copiers of others. So if we are just adding some ingredients in our own teaching technologies in our own teaching, so it will be good for the on the part of the on the part of the students. Because corona and COVID-19, it is not a matter of one day or two. It will last long for certain months. So we have to be prepare ourselves. Though we are preparing ourselves with the different technologies, but more is needed to go through it, and how we can make the art teaching interesting. Because many of the in question answer session and on the comment session, I'm just watching, looking at that many of the teachers, they are writing that how can we make our teaching, which we are just taking care through online apps, more interesting. Because in classroom we have a lot of things in our hand, but in online interactive sessions we had only the thing that we can just connect the student through the screens. So it is really important on our part that how we can groom ourselves at this juncture of time, and how we can just make our students self-improved and self-disciplined. Because if the students are not self-disciplined, they may leave the class in between, and it is very difficult to take them back during the classes, regular classes, where we are just taking care of the student. They are inside the classroom, and they had no other option. But the online teaching, they may just start their video and the speaker, and then they may leave your class. So how to make our teaching interesting, this is one of the cornerstone of today's world and today's need. So, and in the end, I also want to request all the educators to continue this online teaching practice once in a while, even after reopening of the school, as it is the need of the century. There is a chapter of class 9th in book Beehive, the fun we had, first chapter. In that also, the future classrooms are just be attached to their bedroom, the students' bedroom. So it is difficult for us if we are not switching over ourselves to those virtual classrooms. So it is my request to all the educators to come on the single platform and make your teaching interesting and applicable it in your teaching methodologies and in your online teaching. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Mr. Shammi, you sort of reminded me of something very interesting. I remember reading somewhere, I think it's in the US, that students in universities have the freedom to choose their teachers and to walk into their classes, so you can't bind them with a timetable kind of a thing. So the choice is the students. And I think that's exactly what the situation we are in right now. So you talked about students leaving the online sessions in certain periods and the importance of making the lessons engaging. It's very true, because the same set of children, you will find a higher attendance in a particular period and then it drops when the next period begins. So I think it's a reflection on how which teacher is teaching in what manner, and who's more engaging. And obviously the children will want to. So I think this is going to be the next big challenge for teachers, that until and unless they're able to engage the children and their lessons are that, they catch the attention of the children, they will probably not be left with very many students. So
yes, ma'am, of course. I want to add that if we are just making our lesson and our teaching interactive sessions just big, wonderful, then students will be a part of that teaching, and we will be successful, no doubt. And we all have the capabilities and capacities to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very well said.
Thank you.
Ms. Sunita Nagpal, I think you are the final speaker of the day, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Poonam. Thanks to Rocksport for bringing all of us on this forum and taking us through this wonderful session of very energizing, where we have like-minded people talking about the same things. There's one thing, being the last speaker of the day, it's both good and bad. Everything that you wanted to say has already been said. And so it's easy to kind of sum up everything. But of course, I could give my 2 bit to it also. The good thing is I don't really have to spend too much time on it. But I'm in total agreement with every speaker here. And we all, as educationists, have understood what is the need of the hour. And where it is that, in spite of the fact that we have been talking about 21st century skills as being the cornerstones of education, we probably did not achieve it completely, because when we were thrown into online teaching suddenly on the 20th of March due to COVID-19, we realized there was Zoom bombing happening in the class. There were children who would turn on, just like Mr. Shammi said, would turn on their speakers, turn off the video, and be still fast asleep in class. So these are things that we have battled, and I am sure that most of us over time have overcome it also. But it makes me think and wonder, there are 2 things that we need to still focus upon. One is the socio-emotional development of the child, whether it has been done in the right manner. 2 is that whether the child is ethical. Have we taught ethics? Of course, we were brought up in and educated in schools where we had moral science as a subject. We are not talking of having moral science. What we need to do is, in the imparting of our learning, we have to ensure that we bring up ethically upright children. They need to understand the meaning of integrity, trustworthiness, respect, fairness, because this is what real life is going to entail. They will not be able to run through life if they are not true to themselves or true to others, if they do not respect others. Many of my worthy panelists have also mentioned this, that respect for others, that is something which is, I feel, the children through these last 2 months, many of them have shown us that we have somewhere been lacking in that. We have not probably succeeded in imparting that fully. I won't say not at all, because definitely we have very, very upright children, but there are many who have let us down. So in that respect, we should definitely ensure that integrity, good ethics, socio-emotional development of the child be taken care of. There have been parents who have been contacting counselors in these last 2 months saying that my child is desperate to meet friends. It is only too natural that a child cannot be bound at home, but circumstances have made that. Now, had we somehow foreseen it and made it as part of our education system, maybe we would have better equipped children. Maybe we would have children who were equipped with the tools to face all this. I know my 4 minutes are done. I don't have much. So I was basically only trying to sum up what everyone has said. Every single panelist here has touched upon these very things. And I leave you all with this thought that we must think and we must make sure that our learning incorporates these two aspects, the socio-emotional development of the child and the integrity of the child, the ethics in the child. These two things, other than all that has been said, all of that was as important, if not more, but these two things should not be overlooked. So I end with that. And of course, compliments to everyone and compliments to Poonam, ma'am, who has taken us through this whole thing so well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sunita. And with that, of course, I would like to thank each one of you. I'd very quickly like to sum up. You very rightly said the social and the emotional connect, because the children are not physically in touch. So there are a couple of, I think, very strong points that came through, which I would sort of just like to reiterate before we wind up. And we spoke about life skills, and somehow all of us have felt that somewhere something has been missing and we are facing all these kind of problems. So all I'd like to say is that it's been said that character cannot be taught, it's caught. So I think as teachers and educators, as adults, as parents, if there are parents on this forum, I think we need to first take a look at ourselves, because you know, the kind of role models that we had in our times, and do children have similar role models now, is a big question. So I think before we point finger at kids, we need to sort of reflect and look at ourselves. I think that is very important. As far as the social and emotional contact or connect goes, I think it can still be done if we are caring enough and if we take time enough. I think teachers in small groups, if they connect with their children after school hours and just speak to them, you know, that will make them feel that there is somebody for them. You know, it's important that they're heard, because often they don't have anybody to speak to. Often they don't have somebody to give them that, you know, the listening ear. I think that is important. And yes, engagement is very important, because I think knowledge is easily available to the children. They don't need teachers for that. So it's how we, what is that extra thing that we are able to weave into our lessons. And as Jaya very rightly said, if that real life connect through, be it math or be it social science, if you can do it. I remember my my language teachers did that, you know, the pictures of these migrants, and then they sort of got children to think about it. So there are tons of things that can be done to make children more empathetic and to realize how fortunate they are. I've been seeing a lot of questions on, you know, how can you teach children life skills, or how can you teach values to the children during this lockdown period. So I would just like to share that the school that I belong to, we have a very strong culture of, you know, the morning assembly, which is very different to the kind of morning assemblies that other schools have. And we have a visual component, which is a compulsory component of the assembly. We do not sing one prayer every day, like you know, children generally tend to be like parrots, they just rattle it off. So we do different prayers so that they actually ponder on the words. We do different kinds of devotional music, and what we've been able to continue during our the lockdown period is also that one day in advance we share that video link with the parents, with the children. They view it a day in advance, and then the morning begins with questions framed on that video, you know, and those are all thought-provoking. Those are all value-related. Those are all those, you know, videos, powerful videos which get the children to reflect. I had spoken about one of the R's, the reflection and the introspection and the, you know, building resilience in children and that grit and perseverance. So the videos that we share are all about these values. So and you believe me, I mean, we've got such positive feedback from parents telling us that, you know, even after the lockdown, please continue to share your assembly videos with us, because these are great stories for children to sort of hear them over and over again, and sort of, you know, because values are not something that are ingrained overnight. It has to be repeated, and children, every child will not be transformed, you know, simultaneously and you know, overnight. So you will see positive changes in some children at a faster pace. Others may take their time, and we know that environmental and the family background and the grooming, there's so many factors that go into how a child turns out. So I don't know if you're going to take any questions, Gautam, because there I can.
Ma'am, can we take 1 or 2 questions if possible?
So I've already addressed this. Somebody said, how can we increase moral values through online teaching? I've already discussed that. And can life skills be taught? Yes, because life skills, what we've done at our school is we've woven the life skills into every subject. It's not a moral science period. There's no moral science period. It's just woven into every lesson. The purpose of education is basically to transform a child's thought process. And that can be done through any chapter that you teach, even a science chapter for that matter. You know, if any of the panelists would like to share, most welcome.
Yeah, excuse me, Miss Poonam, this is Jaya here.
Yes, yes.
So I would like to add on to this question, to your answer to the question related to how to inculcate values during this time when children are at home. So I would like to share what practices we do which can be extended at home, which we are practicing even during the lockdown period. We celebrate each day differently. For example, Monday is Marvelous Monday, where everyone gathers for the first 10 minutes in the school and we all dance together. So what we have been doing is the music track is created, the link is sent to the parents. Even now on Mondays, the staff, students, everybody logs in at the same time and everyone experiences the same joy of dancing together. Then we have Appreciation Tuesday, Smiley Wednesday, Thank You Thursday, Forgiveness Friday, Express Saturday, and Service Sunday. So I would not elaborate on all, but let's say Thank You Thursday. So it's all about gratitude. So our students and parents have also been involved in expressing gratitude to teachers. We have expressed gratitude to students and to the various Corona warriors. So, you know, you can continue with your practices, building these kind of values. Even on Service Sundays, the children have been serving at home, and this is how they share with the school, with everyone, how they are celebrating their Service Sunday. And on Smiley Wednesdays, we have just recently created a video where we are all dancing on this song called Fir Se Muskurayega India. So, you know, it's so relevant to our Smiley Wednesday. So students are involved, the teachers, parents, everyone is involved. Another practice which is done on a daily basis, because it's important to be reflective, like somebody mentioned. When you want to develop these skills and values, you have to be very well aware of yourself, and for that you need to be mindful. And a practice we follow is a 3-minute silence every day. We call it as Alpaviram, which literally means a comma or a pause, a short pause. It's not the end. So you are supposed to actively think on your actions, on your thoughts, and see where a correction is needed, where you are headed, where do you need a correction in your style, in your thinking, in your actions. So I think if these simple practices also are done, if parents ensure that at home when they have meals, the child is made to do a prayer, not just reciting some shloka that he doesn't even know the meaning of, but consciously speaking those words which the child can register, being thankful that today we have this food on this table, and many are walking miles and miles without food and water, children of their age. And it just gives me goosebumps while I speak of it. So I think this is very simple. This can be just done if the family stays like a family. This all is very much possible.
Absolutely. Not be very right. You know, we're doing mindfulness even with the very little ones, the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, and the parents sit and do it alongside. So yeah, there's no limit to what can be done. Yes, Gautam.
Ma'am, there are some more questions on which we would want to view of you all. So can we take one or two questions which I have written?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. So my question is for Jaishree ma'am and Aparna ma'am. So do you think we are ready to adopt a personalized education and adaptive learning method? Can it be successfully implemented? And you have 60 seconds to answer this.
Yes, why not?
Yes.
Definitely, it can be practically done, and it is in fact the need of the hour. You know, unless and until there is personalized education where we assess the child and move according to the pace of the child and according to the performance that the child gives from time to time, it will be very difficult for to have so many children doing excellently well in the classroom, because we have a multifarious intelligence students. There are multiple intelligence students. We are talking about inclusive education, and when we are talking about inclusive education, personalized attention is extremely important to ensure that every child learns, maybe at his or her own pace, but learning must occur in the classroom, and for that, personalized and adaptive learning would be extremely helpful. Thank you.
Aparna ma'am, what is your view?
Yeah, I also feel the same, that we are all ready. In fact, more than ready, the schools are all working towards it. Some changes are required, but then I feel that we are all ready for it.
We have one more question. Do you think we need to change the current classroom format to stimulate more intellectual exploration and collaborative learning for students? This question is for Shammi sir and Sunita ma'am. You have 60 seconds to answer this.
Okay. So if you're talking about changing the classroom environment really doesn't need to change. What online teaching has already shown us, that collaborative learning is happening. Children are doing projects. And when we move towards a blended learning approach, wherein, a few days of online and a few days of offline learning might be happening in the future, this will go on. Collaborative approach will be there. And in fact, it is required. It is very much the need of the hour. So a lot of project-based learning is going to happen in that manner.
Gautam, it is truly said that we are also giving in our school, we are giving the different projects to the student through online interaction sessions. And even I'm just adding one more thing. Parents are also taking interest. If your project and if your assignments are good, to just see, and they are happy to just do the things, because they have ample time at their home and they are just doing the things all together. Collaborate learning is there in their own house. Parent is also a part of that learning, and children, they are just doing it very happily. But means if I am talking about class 11th and 12th, we are little bit stick to that subjective teaching, and interactive classes are going on related to the subjects. We should take more project in that particular part of the classes. 11th and 12th should also be involved and included in that collaborated learning. Gautam.
So my next and last question is for Mayuri ma'am and Poonam ma'am. So ma'am, what are some of the changes you think we need to make to our evaluation system with learning becoming hybrid? And you have 60 seconds to share your view.
Yeah, who goes first? May I? Yeah, I think, yes, we'll have to do that, because if we have to blend online and offline, then even our assessments are going to be online and offline. And if the assessments are going to be online assessments, then we'll have to change our format of questioning. We'll have to do that. Changes will have to be done. We'll have to go in for more of objective type questions, which I think even CBSE had started that also. If you see the format, the CBSE is changing into more of objective questions. MCQs are increasing. So it is just a further continuation of what we have already been advised. And yes, we will have to change. We'll have to do more of project assessment, which the children will be sending online to us. So these, yes, I think we'll have to go in for the change of assessment pattern.
Poonam ma'am, please share you.
Yes, so I think definitely the assessments will need a relook and a rethink, and there can be multiple ways, not just the MCQ types. I think we should also start exploring peer assessment and self-assessment if we want to make our children more accountable.
Open book
also to teach
assessment
them.
also can be one.
So there are multiple ways, and let's see how it goes. As of now, we're just going ahead with the multiple choice, but I'm sure we need to look at other ways of assessing.
Yeah,
students.
agree to that.
Great, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So as this wonderful discussion comes to an end, I would like to thank all the panelists for taking out the time and making this a great discussion. It was an honor to have you all here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gautam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rock Sports.
It was a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Gautam.
Thank you, Rock
A
Sports.
pleasure, ma'am. Our audience, I believe you must have also enjoyed this session.
A big thank
There is a
big
link
thank
in
you
chat
to
box for
Rockstar.
webinar feedback. So kindly share your feedback. I would like to thank all the panelists to joining us. Thank you, Poonam ma'am. Thank you, Aparna ma'am. Thank you, Bhawna ma'am. Thank you, Jaishree ma'am. Thank you, Jaya ma'am. Thank you, Mayuri ma'am. Thank you, Shammi sir. Thank you,
Thank
Sunita
you,
ma'am.
Gautam. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Rocksport. Thank you.
I would also like to
Gautam.
thank all the audience out there for joining us. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Gautam. You did a good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
ma'am. Thank
Gautam,
you.
Gautam, I would like everyone to experience a virtual hug. So I'm giving it to everyone. Please take it. Please give it back to me. Yes,
Thank you,
please do
ma'am.
that. It's for all the attendees and for all the panelists. It's a virtual hug for all of us.
Yeah.
That's all that we can do
I
these
can't
days,
see
right?
the panelists giving me back a hug.
Actually,
For
I
the
can't see
panelists,
just because
I want my hug
we
back.
have the creative.
Yeah, that looks better. You too, Gautam. Yes, so this is how we can keep connected with our
big
students
hug-
also with
and a
virtual
big hug
hugs
to all
and
the
the virtual high
teachers
fives.
who have been doing wonderful work all these days.
Right. Great
Yes,
job.
ma'am.
Definitely. Commendable job by all the teachers.
I would also like to say thanks to all the audience out there for joining us. Please follow us on Facebook to know more about the webinar planned in future. The next webinar is scheduled on Friday, 22nd of May, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. To register, use the link given on our Facebook page. Thank you once again. Wish you all a great evening. Stay home, stay safe, and stay connected.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Gautam. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Rock
To
Sports.
teachers.
Thank you, all the
Thank you,
panelists.
thank you.
Take
All the best.
care. Please take good care of yourself.
You
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
ma'am. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Stay
See
safe,
you.
everyone.
God bless. God bless.
Okay, Gautam. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye, Gautam. Take care. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shammi sir. Thank you, Sunita ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.